Reflections of the Nightmares. Once upon a time, in a cozy little house in the suburbs of Chicago, lived a curious toddler named Tommy. Tommy was a bright and imaginative child, full of wonder and innocence. He had big, round eyes that twinkled with excitement during the day, but turned into pools of uncertainty at night. You see, Tommy had a secret, one that he could hardly comprehend himself. Every night, as the moon painted the room in a silvery glow and the shadows danced on the walls, Tommy saw them, the monsters. They were not like the monsters he saw in storybooks or on TV. No, these were different. They were tall and dark, with long, spindly limbs and glowing, piercing eyes. They lurked in the corners of his room, their forms ever so elusive, like wisps of smoke. "Mommy, Daddy, there are monsters in my room," Tommy would cry out, his tiny voice trembling with fear. His parents would rush to his side, lovingly tuck him in, and assure him there was nothing to worry about. "It's just your imagination, sweetie," they would say, ruffling his hair. "There are no monsters here." But Tommy knew what he saw. Night after night, he'd watch as the creatures circled his bed, their whispers chilling his little heart. They seemed to be watching him, studying him, and it terrified him. As time passed, Tommy's pleas became more desperate. He tried to describe the monsters in detail, their sinister whispers, and how they loomed closer each night. But his family dismissed it as the vivid imagination of a toddler. One evening, Tommy decided he had to prove the existence of these monsters. Armed with a flashlight, he waited until the room was shrouded in darkness. The monsters crept closer, their eerie, elongated fingers almost touching his blanket. Tommy switched on the flashlight, flooding the room with light. But to his astonishment, the monsters vanished, leaving behind nothing but a faint chill in the air. The room was empty, just as his family had insisted all along. Defeated and confused, Tommy slumped back into his bed, his flashlight still casting an eerie glow. He looked around, trying to understand what was happening. That's when he noticed something peculiar, a mirror on his dresser. Tommy had never paid much attention to it before. Curiosity getting the best of him, Tommy climbed out of bed and waddled over to the mirror. As he peered into it, his heart skipped a beat. The reflection that stared back at him was not the innocent toddler he knew. Instead, he saw a creature with the same long, spindly limbs and glowing eyes he had seen in the shadows. Tommy gasped, stumbling back in terror. He looked down at his own hands, and they too had transformed into those monstrous appendages. He realized that he was one of them, a creature of the night. Frantic and trembling, Tommy rushed to his parents' room, bursting through the door, only to find them asleep, their forms twisted and monstrous, just like his own. He couldn't comprehend what he was seeing. Were they the monsters all along, or had he become one of them? As the sun's first rays peeked through the curtains, the monstrous family gradually transformed back into their familiar, human selves, unaware of the night's eerie revelation. Tommy sat on the floor, his mind swirling with confusion and dread. From that day forward, Tommy lived with the unsettling knowledge that his family, and perhaps himself, were the monsters that had haunted his room at night. The line between reality and nightmare had blurred, leaving him forever changed. And every night, as the shadows danced on the walls, he wondered if he had truly seen monsters or had merely glimpsed the darkness that lurked within us all.